بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وموالاه السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We have with us hadith number 83 from this blessed book of Umdatul Ahkaam, and we want someone to volunteer and recite it or read it for us. Muhammad Aman.
Narrated Salim ibn Abdullah. My father said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to raise both his hands up to the level of his shoulders when opening the prayer and on saying the takbir for bowing. And on raising his head from bowing, he used to do the same and then say, Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana wa lakal hamd. And he did not do that, that is raising his hands in prostrations.
In this hadith, Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, is describing to us how the Prophet ﷺ used to raise his hands in three positions. And we have another hadith which is also authentic, adding a fourth position, which makes them two that are only done once in prayer and two that are done in every rak'ah of every prayer. So the first one that is done only once, and that is takbiratul ihram, the first takbirah in the salah that initiates it, that begins it. So when you say Allahu Akbar, he used to raise his hands till the level or to the level of his shoulders. And there are hadiths that his fingers would be to the level of his ears. So how to combine? Scholars say that both hadiths are authentic. So in order to combine, you have to have an understanding, and the understanding is that he used to raise the palm of his hands to his shoulders while the fingers reaching the level of his ears. Now, I've seen people tormenting themselves before prayer by holding their ears and doing Allahu Akbar. Why are you doing this? Are you reprimanding yourself? I said, no, this is how we learned how to pray. I said, book, very good. Now you have to change your method of learning. What did we agree on? We learn how to pray from the Sunnah. And nowhere in the hadith the Prophet used to touch his ears, let alone pulling them. And by the end of the day, you never know, maybe you'll be like an elephant with big ears. This is not advisable, akhi. Whatever you do, refer it to the Quran and the Sunnah. Revise all of your religion. So many things that my father taught me were wrong. So many things that my community used to do are wrong. So many things that we may learn in schools, not so many, but there are things in schools that we learn that are not correct. So as a student of knowledge, like you guys, you have to always refer it to the Quran and Sunnah. Don't take my word. I might be one of the sources of wrong information as well that you add to the archive you have. So as a student of knowledge, go back to the Quran, to the Sunnah. Refer, cross-examine, cross-reference so that you can know whether this was done by the Prophet ﷺ or not. Never ever he used to touch his ears. But the hadith says that to the level of the ears. Now, there are people that are so lazy, when they offer takbir, they say, Allahu Akbar. What are you doing? Trying to fly? You think you're a duck? No, this is not the right way of doing it. In prayer, you have to show enthusiasm. You have to show power and strength and agility in the way that Allah Azza wa Jalla is pleased with. Because if your boss tells you to do something, how would you do it? You know, like this? Or you will show him that you are all up to it. If he says do something, you say, yes sir, yes sir. meaning that you are in compliance, you're showing, mashallah. This means that you're a good employee. With Allah, Allah has the highest example. We have to stand in prayer in a manner and fashion that is perfect. And the only perfect way is to do what the Prophet ﷺ used to do. So, should I do this? Or what? The scholars say you have to point it to the Qibla. Because the whole prayer is based on facing the Qibla. So I do this, Allahu Akbar. This is my hands, shoulder and ears level. Now, I don't tell you bring a ruler and try to measure exactly, no, a little bit, okay, now it's good. But you know what I mean. Islam is a religion of simplicity. So, Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, telling us he used to do this in Takbiratul Ihram. Once, because it doesn't come more than once in a prayer. The second place, which is only once in the prayer, is when the imam or the individual or the follower is standing from at-tashahhud, which is the second rak'ah, to the third. So the minute you stand to the third rak'ah, you raise your hands and say Allahu Akbar. Of course, this only comes in 3 rak'ah prayer and 4 rak'ah prayer. Can I do this in Fajr? No, because there isn't any third rak'ah. The third and fourth location is found in every single prayer, in every single rak'ah, and that is when I bow, I say Allahu Akbar, and when I raise my head from bowing position, I say Sami Allahu liman hamidah, and I do not do this when I prostrate. So I don't do this in prostration while sujood, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. I don't do this while in the prostration position. Now, scholars say that it's the consensus of all scholars that the first takbirah, you raise your hands. What's the ruling on raising the hands? Is it pillar? Is it mandatory? Is it sunnah? Kareem.
So Takbiratul Ihram, it's a pillar, but in the following rakats, it's a sunnah.
Okay, he says that in the beginning takbirah, it is a pillar, but in the remaining takbiras of the salah, it is a sunnah. Who agrees with this opinion? 1, 2, okay, 7, 8, 9. And who disagrees with this opinion? 1, 2. Okay, let us take the brother over there. Why do you disagree?
God, the Prophet ﷺ never missed it, first thing. Yes.
So he's saying that it's a pillar. No. He said that the first takbirah, raising the hand, is a pillar. So you agree? Do you agree? He agrees. This is all wrong. You've mixed up things completely. There is a difference between the takbir and raising the hands. Raising the hands is a sunnah. So if I initiate my prayer by saying Allahu Akbar, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, my prayer is 100% accepted. But if I do this and I initiate my prayer is invalid, because the takbir is the pillar, not raising the hands. So the consensus of all scholars that raising the hands with the takbir is something that is recommended. There is no dispute and difference between them. They differed in what? In raising the hands elsewhere. So the majority of scholars say it is recommended, such as Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, Al-Imam al-Ahmad. Imam Ahmad said that raising the hands other than the Takbiratul Ihram, in the 3 positions I've mentioned, they say that it is highly recommended. It's part of the sunnah. Not only that, Ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah have mercy on his soul, said that 30 companions of the Prophet ﷺ reported it. Not only that, the 10 heaven-bound Sahaba including the 4 righteous and rightly guided caliphs, they reported it. Al-Imam Al-Hakim, Abu Abdullah Al-Hakim, the one who compiled Al-Mustadrak ala Sahihain, he said, I do not know of a sunnah that the 4 caliphs of Islam agreed upon among the 10 heaven-bound, all of them agreed upon, other than raising the hands in prayer. So it is not something that is a difference of opinion. No, this is something that all the companions did it, and the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ on doing it. And that is why we know that if there is a school of thought that says otherwise, that this opinion we respect, but at the same time we'd rather follow the companions, may Allah be pleased with him. And this is the opinion of Al-Imam Abu Hanifa. The school of Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on his soul, say that you do not raise your hands except in the beginning. And as you have heard and as I have read to you, this is wrong and it goes against the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. However, if I don't raise my hands, is my prayer void? No, your prayer is complete, but you will lose the reward of following the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi as-salatu was-salam. Moving on to hadith number 84, and the brother there.
Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet ﷺ said, I have been ordered to prostrate on 7 bones, that is, on the forehead along with the tip of the nose, and the Prophet pointed towards his nose, both hands, both knees, and the toes of both feet, and not together, fold, roll up the clothes or the hair. Sahih al-Bukhari.
Regarding the addition at the end, where the Prophet ﷺ say, and not gather or fold or roll up the clothes or the hair, this is not mentioned in the text of Umdatul Ahkaam, but it is authentic. And because the brother had read it, we may inshallah come to explain it just after this short break, so stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. The Prophet ﷺ is describing to us how to prostrate. And he's saying that I've been commanded. Who has the ability to command the Prophet ﷺ? Only Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is how we should prostrate. He was commanded to prostrate on 7 bones. The head, he said, and pointed to the tip of his nose, which means that the nose and the forehead are alike. And that is why if someone only prostrates on the tip of his nose, is this permissible? No. And if someone, like a lot of the children do, only they don't prostrate on the forehead, they prostrate on their heads, so that they can look what's happening behind them. So they'll do this and they look left and right and check on the people and play around. This is acceptable? No, it has to be the forehead and the nose. And then the Prophet said the hands, the knees, and the feet. And among the mistakes that a lot of the Muslims do is not erecting the feet properly. You've seen this a lot. Lazy people, lazy worshippers. When they prostrate, you see their feet dangling in the air. While they're prostrating, their feet are dangling, maybe they rub each other together. So while you're prostrating, you hear in front of you, someone is rubbing his feet together. This is awkward. Some of them put or place their feet like this, pointing the fingers to the direction of the Qibla and erecting their feet. They let their fingers point to the other side or to the opposite side of the Qibla. And this is not a correct prostration. Their prostration is not valid. Understood? Some of the people, and I've seen this, don't prostrate on the palms of their hands. Instead, they prostrate on their fingertips. and as if they're doing push-ups or some sort of, hyped way of exercise. And this is not permissible. The sunnah and the right way of doing it is you place the palms of your hands on the ground and pointing it to the qibla. Some people do this. Some people do that. And the sunnah is to do this in the direction pointing to the qibla, because this is the soul of your prayer. And scholars differed where to put the feet when you prostrate. Keep them apart or make them close. There isn't anything specific telling us where to put them, except for the hadith of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, when she said that I woke up once in the middle of the night and it was dark, we did not have any candlelight, and I did not know where the Prophet was. He wasn't next to me in the bed. So I started touching in the room, and my hands fell on the Prophet's feet erected, and he was praying, and she told us the supplication he was saying. Allahumma na'udhu biridaka min sakhatik wa bimu'afatika min uqubatik, to the end of the dua. So she said this, which indicates that both of his feet were close together because she touched them with one stroke. This is the only evidence. Other than that, there is no evidence saying that we should keep them apart or make them or join them together. So the most authentic opinion, and this is the choice of Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, may Allah have mercy on his soul, that you put them together. So this is regarding prostrating on the 7 bones. Now, prostration is by far one of the greatest deeds in Islam. And that is why in Sahih Imam Muslim, the Prophet tells us, when the son of Adam prostrates, the devil takes a corner and starts to cry. So you have the ability to make the devil cry. The devil cries and says, I've been ordered to prostrate and I refused, and I was doomed into hell forever, for eternity. And he was ordered to prostrate and he prostrated, and Allah will give him Jannah. So the devil knows this, we don't. Or we know but we neglect. And the Prophet said alayhi salatu wasalam that any servant of Allah who prostrates, Allah Azza wa Jal would give him for that prostration a good deed, a hasanah, and would erase away from him a bad deed, a sayyah. So prostration is something not to be taken lightly. One should know that the closest he is to his Lord is when prostrating. The Prophet said alayhi salam, the closest a servant of Allah is to his Lord is when he is prostrating. So choose whatever you wish of dua while you are in prostration. Allah would answer your dua. And before you ask me, Shaykh, is it permissible to make dua in our native language? I would say it's an issue of dispute among scholars. The most authentic opinion is, if you know how to make this particular dua in Arabic, you must. But if you don't have the knowledge in Arabic, for example, I'd like to say, oh Allah, not forgive my sins, this is easy. If I want to say, oh Allah, help me in paying off my debts and getting my daughter married, for example. And I don't know how to say this in Arabic. So the scholars say you are allowed to say this in your own native language. But if you have the ability to say it in Arabic, you cannot prostrate and supplicate in Salah except in the Arabic language. If it's not in the Salah, if I'm going around the Kaaba, if I'm doing sa'i between the Safa and Marwa, if I am sitting home and just wanting to supplicate, it's okay to do it in your own native language. I believe that this is all what we need to know about this hadith. We have a few minutes left, so I'd like to entertain your questions. Yes, brother.
As regards prostration, when we go down to prostrate, what is the correct sequence? Whether we should be touching our knees first and then hands? Because there are some conflicting statements.
There is a difference between scholars regarding how to prostrate. That is, falling to the prostration position. What should touch the ground first? Should it be hands first or knees first? It's an issue of dispute, and the funny thing is, those who dispute it use the same hadith. Those who differed among them use the same hadith. And the difference is in defining the knees mentioned in the hadith. Because the Prophet is saying, do not prostrate like a camel. And when someone of you prostrates, he should put his knees. They said that the knees of the camel are allocated in his elbows. The Arabs, this is what the Arabs say. And the Prophet ﷺ is telling us not to do this posture and to fall on your knees. So they say, okay, if this is true, then this means that we should not put hands first. And we should put our actual knees first. And those who said no, the hadith is clear, do not put your knees first, the Prophet says, you should put your hands first. So it's an issue of dispute. Sheikh bin Baz, bin Uthaymeen, and a number of great scholars say you should put your knees first. And Sheikh al-Albani differed with them and said, no, you should put your hands first. What do? I personally, due to age restrictions and demands, I go on my hands first, because this is the best way for a person who's old, who has sports injuries, and for a person who's praying on marble or on stones or on a rocky terrain. If you go on your knees, you're going to injure yourself, and you feel that. So to minimize the fall, going on your hands takes a lot of the pressure. But look to the wisdom of Sheikh bin Baz, may Allah have mercy on his soul. He said, if you do this or you do that, both is acceptable. Alhamdulillah. If we have this wisdom, we would not have any problem. But the problem is that a lot of the brothers, they differ and fight. Oh, you should go on your knees. No, you should go on your hands. Ya akhi, is it your problem? I'm praying to Allah Azza wa Jal, and this is the way I'd like to pray. And this is the way I understand the hadith. Why should it be an issue? It's a difference of opinion among scholars, and we should not make it an issue. Yes, brother.
I have a question that in the sujood you said we can recite the dua, but there are some duas in the Quran and we're not allowed to recite the Quran in prostration.
This is good. We're not allowed to recite the Quran while in bowing or in prostration. But the du'as you're referring to are not considered to be Quran, because you're not reciting the whole ayah, or you're not reciting a portion of the surah. You're simply saying رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ رَبَّنَا ظَلَمْنَا أَنفُسَنَا وَإِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا, etc. So actually you're not reciting the Quran, you're reciting portion of it, not as a Quran but as a dua. And that is why scholars say that this is permissible. I'm afraid that this is all the time we have. Until we meet next time, fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.